Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing a short season ending review of my beautiful 2009 Dodge Challenger with a Tremec 60/60 6-speed manual transmission. And we're gonna take it out for a drive here, probably the last drive of the year, as it is November 7th today and the temps are getting pretty cold. And I just want to give you my thoughts after a season of usage with the vehicle. And if you guys remember, I bought this in January of 24. It is now November of 24, so I've almost had it a full year, but I did have time to put some miles on it this year. Actually, if we take a look at the odometer here, you're going to see that I almost have 38,000 miles on it. So I put on almost 1,200 miles this year of driving, and it's almost got 38,000 miles on the vehicle. So not too bad, not too bad. It was in the 36s when I bought the car. And I had to do a little bit to it. I took all the PPF off because it was all brown and yellowing. And then I took a polisher to it, of course, and got the paint looking perfect. The exhaust was already as it was, so I needed to do nothing there. And other than that, I haven't had to do anything to it except just get an oil change at the beginning of the season here. And that's it. I'm not going to do an oil change. Next year, I'm going to get in the habit of getting an oil change on this at the end of the season instead of the beginning of the season. But seeing I've only put 1,200 miles on it this year, I'm going to get an oil change on it at the beginning of the season next year. But the only thing I had to do with this is just get new rear tires. When I bought it, the rear tires weren't great, so I got these Toyo's Proxies for the rears, and they are pretty good. I do like them. Much better than the Goodyear Eagle F1 supercar tires that are on the vehicle right now. So other than that, I just have always wanted a Challenger, especially a 6-speed, and this was the perfect car for me. Black with the ghost stripes on it. It looks pretty dang sweet. And listen to that exhaust as well. You cannot beat that. This is after it's been running a little while as well. It sounds just terrific. So we're gonna hop in, go for a little drive, and put this sweet baby to bed. All right, we're setting off in the Challenger here. It's actually been almost a month, I think, since I've driven this vehicle, maybe 3 weeks. It's been a while. I've just been busy at work and I've been busy with life. So just hopping into it here, I'm reminded as to why I love this vehicle so much. And I do have a 300 SRT as well, and that's what kind of drew me to the Challenger itself, because it's just such a cool muscle car. And there's my dad out working right now. I'll have to do a little rip on the takeoff here. That's another reason why the car drew to me as well. But reminded at how comfortable these SRT vehicles are, especially the Challenger. This Challenger to me seems a little softer sprung, honestly, even though it's got the same Bilstein suspension as my 300. It feels a little bit softer sprung to me than my 300 does, which makes a really comfortable GT car when you drive. Now, unlucky for me, I have not taken any road trips in this year, which I wanted to, but it just never happened, either early or later in the season because of rain or scheduling conflicts, or whatever. But the ride of this is so nice. It's so comfortable. The seats are so comfortable. I mean, if you're really looking for an ultimate GT car, this is truly it. You can't beat the Challenger SRT for a GT car made in America, even made abroad. I mean, this for the money is This is nimble, but it's not overly nimble. And driving this compared to my 300, you can feel the weight more on this car, especially up front, than you do with the 300 or the Charger, because it's like a 60-40 weight distribution, as where the Challenger or the Charger and the 300 are basically 50-50. So that does make this vehicle feel a little bit more heavy, especially up front, and it kind of gives it that more of a retro feel, muscle car to it than, let's just say, my 300 or my Jeep SRT does feel a little bit more like sports cars. But nonetheless, it still is fun to drive. It's loud and it's pretty sweet, so I do truly enjoy it, and I don't expect anything to go wrong with the car, and I haven't had an issue with it at all this year, which is great. Now, granted, I haven't driven it very much in a year. You know, I'm gonna put on probably 1,300 miles on this vehicle if I do get a chance to drive it next week, but other than that, I probably, you know, won't put on many more miles. But what makes this more fun to drive to me than my 300 is the fact that it's a manual and you could shift your gears yourself, because the 5-speed that came with these vehicles up until that ZF8 speed that's in my Jeep SRT, that 5-speed was awful, guys. It was truly terrible, and I wasn't going to buy another SRT vehicle that had that 5-speed in it, because it's literally just that bad. I mean, it puts the power down great, but there's no sort of connectivity with it like the 6-speed has. I'm connected to the car. I'm one. I can downshift if I want to. I can bounce it off a red line. It's such an amazing experience for the $22,000 that I paid for this car. It's really an experience like no other, unless you get a Camaro or a Mustang, and that of course is in this price range as well. But me being a diehard Mopar fan, I needed to have the Challenger, and I'm just so glad I got the vehicle. I truly am. You know, to have a dying breed of a vehicle like this sitting in your garage at your disposal whenever you want is pretty dang cool to me. So my season-long ownership of this vehicle has been very positive. I haven't had really any negatives about it, just like my 300 SRT. You know, I haven't had to stick much money into it at all besides tires, and that's it for this vehicle. Now, I just did have to put a little bit of money into my 300, but 2 years of ownership, that really is negligible. This I haven't had to put any money into, and it's been a reliable beast, and it's been a looker, it's been a showstopper. Everybody is interested in the Challenger, because where I live in a rural part of northern Wisconsin, nobody has these cars, because A, nobody can really afford 2 cars, and B, it's rear-wheel drive, and nobody can justify, if they can't afford 2 cars, nobody can justify having a rear-wheel drive car. And that's just how it works, essentially. So it's a showstopper in its own right, and people are always looking at it and asking questions about it. And then when you say it's a manual, that even turns more heads, especially in the older community, because people just don't, younger people my age don't drive manuals very much, even though, you know, I'm approaching 30. Manuals are still a dying breed with people like me, so it's cool to have this, and it's, you know, cool to have the vehicle. So my final thoughts on this before I do one final poll for you all are you know, if you're in the market for a Challenger SRT in that $20,000 to $30,000 price range, you can settle with this, which is an 09, which is what I did. Or you can maybe step up to that newer style, which would be similar to, let's take the long way home, which would be similar to a 2011 or 2013 or 2012, sorry, I skipped a year there. 15 cars I've owned, this is my #1 favorite vehicle I've owned. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see ya in the next one. All right, guys, here we go.